Good morning. My name is George Stobie, and I'm your host for today's webinar. We'll start in about 2 or 3 minutes. Please note, all participants are on mute, but we encourage you to ask questions through the Q&A button. And I will post a link to the presentation materials in the chat room so that you can find them there. And later today, the recording of the webinar will be at that same link. Jimmy, I neglected to ask, and I'm sorry I'm doing this in front of the audience. Are you going to bring up the slides?
Yes, I will. I will bring up the slides. So
sorry, I forgot the basic, and now I'm going to embarrass myself in front of the audience.
It is, and that's why we do things live, and that's why we could every now and then break script. So
there we go. All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I'm glad that a lot of you have decided to join today. While we are waiting, feel free to drop in the chat your business. So maybe I can leverage a little bit of that knowledge in the training that I'll go through today. So don't be shy. Say hello. I'm saying hello to you. And definitely one of my favorite channels to connect is LinkedIn. So feel free to find me on LinkedIn. And this, since we're talking about SEO, if you Google my name, Jimmy Newson, you'll see I own like the top 5 to 6 to 7 pages of my name. And that in itself is SEO when we talk about self-branding and leveraging what you do. So we got video production here with Thomas. So thank you, sir, for joining. So I'm just going to chat away a little bit here, and I'm excited. And I want to thank Dennis and SCORE for having me today. I had a chance to hang out with the mentors. Now today, I get to hang out with you guys. So we got Law in the house. We got D. Nichols law firm. So yeah, I mean, any and every business can benefit from local SEO. See, I'm already trying to start, and I just don't know how to behave sometimes. So I apologize.
There you go. It's all good, Jimmy. I'll give you a heads up in about 1 minute. We'll start right at the top of the hour.
Absolutely, no problem. I'm going to mute myself, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and I'll come back in a second.
Okay, Jimmy, we are right at the top of the hour.
So, all right, so let me get the slides up. Get us all set here. And let me get the chat. Oh. And I'm going to get the chat and the Q&A box up. And you can see the screen, correct?
Yep, we're all set. Looks good.
All right, and let me just do a little tab test here. Let's get rid of that, because you know I just don't want to see my crazy insane calendar or my emails. Because those are pretty scary. There we go. All right. All right, did you get my chat? I think it was erased. So Leslie, I did not see your chat. Let me scroll through here. We have Marie, who's a Cheesecake. Georgia's in the house. Howard County. We got Norman, who's a SCORE mentors in the house. Hi, could you kindly turn your Zoom live transcript? All right, so George, you know how to turn the transcript on for Google? I'm not sure if I have that for Zoom. I'm not sure if I have that ability.
I think I do. Let me see. Enable auto transcription. Okay, I've not used it before, but I turned it on, so let's see if it works.
Looks like it is working.
There we go.
Beautiful. All right, transcript is on. All right, who we got? We got Cindy from Baltimore. Ronald is voice and media in Baltimore. Cynthia is Colesville Travel from Silver Springs, Maryland. All right, so we're cooking. All right, so I'll turn it back over to you, George.
So if you want to go ahead, one slide, Jim.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Oops.
There we go. So quick intro about SCORE. We are a resource partner of the Small Business Administration, and you can see how we help. We provide free business advice and mentoring, and we offer low cost or no cost training, and we have a lot of templates and resources to share. So you'll hear Jimmy mention on occasion during the webinar today that it is a great idea to connect with a mentor. If you don't have one, please go to the link at the bottom. And that's my plug and background for SCORE. And I'll turn it back to Jimmy.
Great. Thank you very much, sir. First of all, I want to thank you guys for having me here today. I'm glad you're here. I know it's a pretty busy time of the year. Pretty much any time is a busy time of the year as a small business owner. So yeah, so we'll keep going. So I want to first of all introduce myself. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jimmy Newson. I'm the CEO and founder of Moving Forward Small Business, which is a membership-based digital platform on a mission to save 1 million businesses from failure by the year 2050, leveraging technology, innovation, and business strategy. I also do tons of work with, of course, SCORE, the New York Marketing Association, Think Small, Think Big, Digital World Forum. And I work a lot with a lot of SaaS companies. And I may actually, if there's time today, I might even demo a couple of tools that really help bring home what we're going to discuss today. And today we're going to be really talking about a number of different SEO, local SEO strategies that you can use and the tools that you can use to do those. So I will be monitoring the chat and the question and answer section. So please put your questions in the Q&A box. That way it separates it from the chat, because the Q&A is where I'll focus my attention and try to answer your questions. There is a lot to cover here, so it is being recorded so you can watch it later, so you can spend more of your time focusing on kind of what I'm talking about, formulate some questions that might be of importance to you. And you will have access to me after through my contact info if you want to kind of dive deep and ask me some deeper questions, because sometimes I'm not able to go that deep into the questions because I need to get through the presentation on behalf of everyone here today. So with that being said, let me go ahead and talk about today's agenda. We're going to be doing an introduction of local SEO, why we need it, and 11 key solutions for successful local SEO, and then a recap and Q&A. And I do, the majority of what I do is all built around local SEO. And I'm what's known as an inbound marketer. That means I take everything in account that you can possibly do online, from SEO to content creation, social media, email marketing, CRMs, which stands for customer relationship management tools, lead generation. Everything is taken into consideration, and the foundation to most of that is SEO. Okay, so there's two types of SEO. So let's talk about the background. So before Google's algorithm and local SEO, it was a big problem for small businesses to try to outrank larger businesses. They primarily use their websites for like glorified business cards, where they would send customers after they've had an opportunity to connect with them. But in today's time, we really want to use our ability to do local SEO to be found before they talk to us as a business owner and connect with us. So local SEO will give you the ability to make sure that your customers are finding your business, not based on your name, because if they know your name, then they already know who you are, based on your services. So we want to optimize our websites locally for the services, the products that you serve, as they're searching for those, and then you come up as a solution for that problem. So what is local SEO? Local SEO provides you with a laser-focused approach to building your online presence. So it entails optimizing each page on your website It's about increasing the visibility of your website in your local community, and I'll show you what that looks like. And then one of the key elements that we're gonna talk about is what is something that you must do immediately, which is relatively easy to do, to get your local SEO strategy up and off the ground. And it used to be known as Google My Business. Now it's known as Google Business Profile. Okay. So what do you need to know? You need to know about enhancing your local footprint. Enhancing your local footprint is the first step to building your brand and customer base. Connecting with your potential audience by creating a message that is local in nature. So you're going to leverage the surrounding in your area, which could be landmarks. It could be specific businesses that people are very aware of. There's a lot of things that you can do to localize the message, including just the name of the city, the town, the county that you're in. And local searches lead to in-store visits and sales if you are a brick and mortar. Now, if you're not a brick and mortar, you can still leverage Google Business Profile. And I'll talk a little bit about how you can do that. So you can still benefit. So some people go, well, look, my business is more regional, national, global. And I go, at the end of the day, you still can leverage local SEO to get those that are in the back end, that are in your own backyard. They're close to you. You can do some very great targeted campaigns specifically for that market and build up that community. If you have local businesses, if you have locations in multiple areas, say within the same state or in multiple states, you localize for each one of those states as well. So Sharon asks, will we get a copy of this slide? You absolutely will get a copy of this slide, Sharon. Okay. So here's some local stats by numbers. 93% of searches for local businesses displaying what's known as the Google 3-pack. We also call that the snack pack. 71% of online users confirm the location of a business before visiting. I do this all the time, and you probably do as well. You're typing the name of the business. It comes up on Google Maps or Apple Maps, and you hit the direction, and you'll do all kind of, and then you go to the business. So it helps you. You might want to call to see if the business is open, or if it's open at a specific time, another time of the day, so you can plan your day out accordingly. And 40% of searches on Google are for local businesses. I'm gonna go and jump over real quick to my here, and I did a search. I just got to get where is my mouse? I just got to get my mouse to show up. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right, so I did a search for dentist. And so I'm doing this now to kind of really set the idea of what we're looking for here. Google is smart enough to realize if your search is local or if your search is organic. So let me explain the difference. Local search is all about, if I type in the word pizza, Google immediately assumes that I'm looking to eat a pizza. So it's going to give me a local search. If I search pizza recipe, then Google's going to treat it like an organic search and serve me up websites, which could be across the country, around the world, that will help give me some ideas of how to make a pizza, how to make different types of pizza. So so local search is really focused on, local pizza near me, pizza shop near me. But pizza recipe gives you the ability to be broader. So you're going to be creating content for both local search and organic search. So Barbara asked, do we place our information in here to receive a copy of the slides? No, I think Barbara and George, you can confirm this. They're gonna send you it because you've already registered, so they have your email.
That's right, and I'm posting the link, Jim, Jimmy, so that they can get to it. I do have to point out, for some reason, you have to scroll down a little bit on that link, and you'll see the pointer to the materials.
Gotcha. All right. So everybody heard that. So now when I type in dentist, you'll see we had ads. So the first thing is this first one is an ad. The first two are actually ads. And so with these ads, you can see that someone's bidding on this. This means that there's money in this search. Okay. And this is local. So this is someone local to me. I'm in Smithtown, New York on Long Island. Now under that is what we call the snack pack or the Google 3-pack. So this lets you know that this is a local based search. So it's giving me dentist practices within this area. And this is what we're going to be focusing on here. This is where you outrank a national competitor. So you're going to beat out any big dental practice as a local business by appearing here, because this is where people are going to initially focus, because this is more of a transactional type of interaction here. And then you're going to notice, and we're going to talk about this, now you got tweets coming up. So this is where social media, even though you may not be on social media. If you're not on social media and I've got tweets coming up from dentists in the local area, you're already being beat out. So this is why you need to now understand, do I want to be on social media? And if I do, what social media platforms do I want to be on? And then I scroll down, then the local searches start. And now the first thing you notice is we have Yelp, and Yelp is what we call a citation type of situation. So we're going to talk about citations. So Yelp goes to 10 best dentists near Smithtown, because that's where I'm at. You scroll down, and now you're going to start to see actual dentist websites popping up. So even though it's organic, you still have to scroll down before they even get to you here. So we want to be able to show up, first of all, here in this local pack. And if we have some social media channels, it might pull those in as well. And then maybe we'll show up again down here. So there's a lot of work to be done, but you don't have to do it all at one time. Okay, so I just wanted to give you that overview real quick. And now we're going to go back into the presentation and dive in. So what are the benefits of local SEO? Well, you saw it. First of all, it helps you prioritize and optimize the location to be on page 1. What I showed you was page 1 of Google. People usually don't make it to page 2. They find what they're looking for on page 1. So if you're not on page 1, you don't exist. So you need to push your website and you push your presence up on page 1. Not necessarily for one particular keyword. There are many different keywords that you can optimize your website for. And we'll talk a little bit about that. The user's IP address and geolocation are extremely relevant to this search. You lessen the advantage of bigger national brands that are optimized for more generic keywords. So you're going to be specific in the type of keywords you're going to be picking. You can tap into a ready to buy demographic. So now think about this one here, tapping into a ready buy demographic. They're typing in, I need a dentist. I want a pizza. I need a chiropractor. I want to buy a new shirt, and it's going to give them local searches, because it's Google is saying, all right, they want to do something. They want to take action. And this is an opportunity for you to tap into someone who doesn't know you, but now will get introduced to your brand. And they say it takes up to 7 touches before someone will trust your brand. So sometimes if they're if the pipes have bust in my basement, I don't have time to understand your brand. I just need somebody to fix it. So if you show up, you're probably going to get that call, because that's very urgent. But if I'm looking for something down the line, maybe I'm thinking about braces for my daughter, then I might just be looking to gather information, and then your site comes up as one of my sites that might be a potential place where I might go, this is where I'm going to go, unless, of course, I already have a dentist. And again, you can outrank national and regional competitors depending on the type of search. Okay, so now let's go ahead and dive in deep on the 11 key solutions for successful local SEO. So before we dive in, this is an overview of the 11 steps. This is not a deep dive into each one, because we only have 45 minutes left, and I'm also going to be taking Q&A questions. Okay, but it'll give you enough information to go, where do I start? What should I be focusing on? Because some of you may have already started doing SEO. Some of you might be in the middle of it. Some of you may have never done SEO in your life. And here's the thing you have to realize. I hope everybody here has a website, and if you don't, get one up as soon as possible. But the thing is, whether you optimize your website or not, Google will like you for whatever it thinks your website's about. So if you don't have the right information, if you're not targeting the right type of individuals, or if meaning that your target audience, or you don't have enough relevant information on your website, Google could totally rank you and rank you for things that you're not really interested in, or you're not trying to sell, because you haven't done a great job of optimizing your site specifically for the products or services you sell to the people that you sell to. So Deja says, what is the best SEO strategy in addition to creating a Google business profile? having a website to increase ranking on Google. And we're going to go over that, Deja. So these are the 11 steps we're going to start talking about. So let's go with number one. So number one is, of course, creating your and optimizing your Google business profile. Okay, that is the ultimate. This is definitely step one. And you either need to do it if you haven't, or you need to make sure that it's 100% optimized if you haven't done so as well, because there's a lot of things you can do within this program, in this platform. When you set up your Google My Business profile, they don't need to go to your website. They can interact with you directly in Google using this. They can call you. They can book a service. They can, if you're a hairdresser, they can literally book you right in there. If you have an appointment calendar, you can have it added right here as a consultant, as an advisor. They don't need to go to your website. They can just immediately do business with you, but this also gives Google an extreme overview of what your business is. So now you can start ranking for more than what your actual services are. So if your services are a dental service, you can add labels that might go deeper into, Medicare-based dentist, insurance accepted, all these other labels you can add, which together with the fact that you're a dentist can help you show up in more searches beyond just the services or the products that you provide. Okay, so going to google.business.com, either setting it up or going in and optimizing it at 100% will help you do so. And when you're able to do that, on the right will pop up what we call a knowledge panel. And that knowledge panel represents everything about your business. And Google will leverage this across all searches and anything that ever references your business. So if you'll go in, and sometimes you may not have claimed your Google business listing, you need to go and claim it, because sometimes they'll create one on your behalf. Sometimes it won't exist at all. And there are other little knickknacks here, but we're going to go through them a little bit later. Okay. So Angela says, if I operate as a service organization out of my home office, should I list as a business location on Google? I'm worried people might come to my house. So Angela, great question. Right now, so I'll give you my example. So because of the pandemic, my office building sold. So I moved everything to my home until I decided to get another business. So I operate out of my home. What you do is when you set up your Google My Business listing, it's going to ask you, do people come to your home? And you check the boxes. Do people come to your business? You check the box, no, I go to them. Okay. And then it'll ask you now, do you want to hide your address? You say yes. And then what you do is it'll say, now you need to set a radius. So now you can set a radius around the area that you service. So you can put zip codes in there, and so that way it helps you show up in searches in those areas. You can put, so let's use New York. Well, I know New York because I'm from New York, so I can't use DC because I'll mess up all your towns. In New York, I can draw a line, a circle around just Long Island. If I only want to focus on Long Island, I could also draw a perimeter around all of New York. Now, since I deal nationally with small businesses, I drew it around the entire United States. So I hid my address and I drew my radius around the United States so I can show up anywhere in the US based on the type of search. So that's how you get around. All they want to know is, are you a real business and do you have an address? That's what they want. No PO boxes. So they're going to send you a card to help you validate that, you have an address, and now your Google My Business your Google Business profile is approved for business. Okay. So let's keep going. So here's some best practices for Google My Business, Google Business Profile. When providing a business description, include your main keywords as well as the areas where you operate. So you have a place to put your description. So you're going to put in there, serving the DC metro area, with services which include, because these all are part of the way that Google will determine, am I going to show you or I'm going to show your competitor? So this is one way. Choose the best possible category for your Google My Business listing and your subcategory. So you can have multiple categories when you're setting up your Google My Business that help Google recognize what type of business you are. You figure out which one is your main, your main category. and then you can have subcategories. So say you're a law practice, so you could have, attorney as your main one, and then under that you could have subcategories that might say divorce and mediation. The other one, car wrecks. Right now I'm drawing a blank, but injury attorney. So you can pick subcategories, or you can make them labels. So now you can show up for lawyer or accountant. Lawyer lawyer, or you can show up for certain aspects of what you provide as a lawyer or an attorney. Okay. Verify your profile to ensure that your name, address, and contact information match. And now here's where where people get it wrong. You have Google My Business. You use a specific name, phone number, and address. But then I go to your website, and you're using a different phone number, or you're using a different address. The reason why Google My Business is the foundation is because whatever you put on Google My Business has to now exist anywhere else on the internet in regards to your name, your address, and your phone number. What do I mean by that? Your name. If your name is John Smith Dental Practice, you can't say John Smith Dental Practice on Google My Business, but then on your website, go John Smith Dental. It needs to match, and even LLC. So it needs to match to the T. Okay. So that's where you want to start cleaning up, looking at your website going, is it exactly the same? You're using an 800 number you're using a local number on your Google My Business, but when they go to your website, you have an 800 number. You need to determine which one do you want to use. Use the local number for both, or use the 800 number for both, but choose one, because Google looks at that across all of their, when people do those searches, and they'll determine this website is being upkept, this business is being upkept, or they have consistencies across all their digital assets. And if someone else has their act together, well, they're going to outrank you. So these are other little key things that you need to do. Okay. So now let's talk about keyword research and optimizing. So let me see. I got another question come up from Ellen. I am a pop-up shop, so my address changes 4 times a year, always in Annapolis. Do you suggest changing the address, including dates and brick and mortar shops as I move? That is a bit of a complicated question, Ellen, and I would have to think about that. So that's not a question I could answer right now. What you might do is hide your address and just leverage the fact and draw, again, a perimeter around the area, especially if it's still always Annapolis. That would be one immediate suggestion without me really thinking too hard about it. That way you don't have to keep going in and changing your address, because that might raise a red flag with Google if you keep changing the address and they're going, what's going on here? Okay. So Mina says, what if I want to enter the entire US for my online store and locally from, and again, so Mina, like I said, I just drew a thing around my entire United States. You can, I think you might be able to also add the zip codes as well. I'd have to double check on that, but you can always go in there and try. Okay. So let's talk about doing local keyword research and optimizing your content. So once a business appears across all directories, they'll already start to see an increase in ranking and some traffic, but the traffic may not go directly to your site. It might go directly to Google My Business. And you do have in Google My Business metrics that you can see, because again, that may not translate to visits to the website, but it will translate to interaction for your business on behalf of your Google business profile. All right. So we're going to be looking at, when you're looking at keywords, you're going to start to broaden the ability to show up for more keywords that may not be as relevant to you as you thought before. So we have 3 types of keywords we look at. Broad match keywords. That means it could be a mixture of the way people search for keywords, even though you're targeting a specific keyword. So you're targeting New York chiropractor, but a broad match would be, back pain, because chiropractic can solve that. That's a broad match. So if the search is, how do I get rid of back pain? Chiropractic is one possible way to do that. Now, a phrase match may be for the same keyword. New York chiropractor would be chiropractor in New York. It's a phrase match. The words are just mixed around. And then the exact match is, of course, New York chiropractor. So they type that in, that's the keyword you targeted. So a page itself can rank for more than just the keyword that you're optimizing for. I've seen pages that rank for hundreds of keywords that are in position 1, position 2, position 5, position 10. The key here is to write an incredible page and let that one page do all the heavy lifting and work for you. Okay. So what do you need to know? You need to know what tools you can use. Now, there are free tools and there are paid tools. I use a number of tools that are both free and paid. Now, the ultimate free tool is Google's Keyword Planner. And they also have webmaster tools, but they have a tool called Google, Adword Keyword Planner. You have to set up an AdWords account to get access to it, but you don't have to run ads. You just need to set up the account. So you just go to ads.google.com, set up a campaign, and pause it. And then now you have access to the keyword tool, and you can put in your keyword, okay, your main keyword. And the key here is the keyword tool will look at your keyword, and it'll give you related keywords. It'll give you additional keywords. It could even give you questions that people ask about the particular keyword that include the keyword. Okay, so here are the type of keywords that you could, the structure that we can look at. So we have standard keywords, which are relatively hard to rank for when you have little to no authority on your website. Dentist, plumber, chiropractor, caterer. What you want to do is you want to localize these keywords. So somewhere on your website, as you're starting to build out your content, you're going to start adding localized identifiers. New York plumber, plumber in New York, dentist near me, chiropractor in Smithtown, and then we have what's known as long tail keywords. And long tail keywords have they have less search, but they have a higher intent on behalf of the user, because they're being very specific about what they're looking for. And if you can optimize your content for that search, there's a great opportunity that you could possibly get a conversion. So local caterer for children's birthday parties. Why? Because you're specific to children's birthday parties versus adult birthday parties or teen birthday parties. Local dentist that takes Medicaid. Medicaid, yes. So and these words are going to be embedded on your website. So here's a key tip. On your website, make sure that you have your phone number, your name, your phone number, the name of your business, your phone number, and your address in the footer of every single page on your website. That way, Google takes that into consideration in addition to what's on that particular page, which could be a product page, which could be a service page, which could be, the home page itself. So you want to make sure that, it's pulling in, it's seeing your address. So that's localizing the page to a degree. Okay. Here is Google Keyword Planner. Here's a screenshot. So I plumber. So now let's look at this chart here. So first of all, we see the keyword plumber gets 300,000 searches a month. And if I had to run ads on that, it would cost me $26. Why is it so expensive? It's so expensive because this here is a transaction-based keyword. That means no one's searching for a plumber because they want to understand the plumbing industry. They're searching for a plumber because they have an emergency. And that means that there's a good chance if they click on your ad, if you're doing a good job and you just happen to be a reputable plumbing business, you're going to probably get that work. And it's worth the click. Now, you don't pay unless they click on the ad. So that's the good thing. So it's not like every time your ads show up, you're being charged $30. You're getting charged if they click on the ad. So just make sure that, that when you're clicking on the ad, whoever's answering those calls are doing a great job of converting that customer. But you can also see plumber near me drops down the search volume from 300,000 down to 21,000. So you're like, well, I don't want plumber near me. Yes, you do. Because plumber near me is very specific to the fact that somebody really needs a plumber. That's intent. And you can see the price of that actually went up because this is somebody that's definitely ready to take action. Now, I typed in plumber, but check this out. Water heater repair came up. that is what we call a broad match, because plumber, it's assuming that maybe you need water heater repair, maybe you don't need toilet repair, so you might so maybe that's what you specialize in. So you can create content or optimize a page specifically for water heater repair, or make sure you add that keyword to that service page. In addition to traditional plumbing issues, we also deal with water heater repair and this and that, and maybe add a little paragraph on that. I need to take a day and do this. Yes, Dominique. Yeah, like I said, it takes some time. You're going to be able to rewatch this, but and I'm going to speed it up a little bit because I still got quite a bit to go over here. But I think you get the idea here. So let's look at
do a time check, Jim.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm gonna blow through this, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we could talk about this all day. It's crazy. My brain goes la la la. All right. So here we go. Local keyword research. You want to perform local keyword research and choose locally relevant keywords to target. And you can even do this in Google. Just go to Google and type in something around a keyword that you'd like to optimize for and see what comes up. Okay. Optimize your content for your area. So now you're going to your website and you're adding things to your website. You're making sure that your address is in the footer. If you're looking for that local search, if you're national, you might just add an 800 number. You might do other things, but you can definitely add things to the page. So you can even add serving areas, which include this area, this area, this area, this county, this county, this county, the About Us page. And then you're going to start working on building backlinks. Now, backlinks is a whole nother story. We're going to get into that in a second. So we're going to keep going. So now let's talk about local link building or community engagement. Which one? You should be doing both. So local link building is about, understanding what's in your community. So say you have a museum in your community, or you have you're a clothing shop and there's a pizza shop. There's no reason why you can't do like a collaborative opportunity where if they buy a certain amount of clothes, maybe they get a pizza, or if you buy a pizza, you get a discount at the local clothing store for a night out, a restaurant. And this is you taking the initiative to create these campaigns that live on your website, and then others can link. You create the thing, and now you can create a link to their site and ask for a link back from their site to yours. That's creating a backlink to your website. Okay, so this is how you can start to use local signals by leveraging other businesses. When we look at link building tools, there are tools that we can use, and I'll show you a tool on the next page that can let you see who are my competitors linking to. If my competitors are linking to them, then maybe I can link to them too. Because the key here is you still need to beat out your competitors, and link building strategies is one of the biggest signals for Google My Business. So I see we have quite a few more questions. So I'm going to get to them in a second, but I'm going to blow through a few more. So here is a tool. I use a tool called SEMrush. I also use another tool called Href. And these tools will allow me to put in a competitor's website and look at the keywords that are creating backlinks for them. Look at the competitors. I can look at the competitors that are and their backlinks. I can look at mentions. Mentions is when someone mentions in my business, or maybe mentions in my competitor's business. And typically this is on social media or in a blog post on someone else's website. I can see any lost backlinks. So there are tools out there that can help you do these as well. Okay. So now let's talk about submitting to online business directories, AKA citations. Citations stand for name, address, phone number. So I mentioned earlier, whatever you do on your Google My Business now has to be done on every single website that has your business name, email, and address. I mean, your business name, phone number, and address. So you can do them across all type of platforms, and I'll show you what those platforms are. Search engines love citations, and this is a key element to local SEO search. If someone has, if you have no citations and your competitors have a lot of citations, they will rank in that top 3 and you will not, okay? And there's no limit to the amount of citations you can have. So what are citations? Here are some citations. Bing places for business, Yahoo Local, Merchant Circle, City Search, Foursquare, Angie's List, Manta, Yelp for Business. And there are ones, depending on your industry, there could be additional citations that are industry specific, like organizations or associations that might cater to your industry. You can get yourself listed on those as well. And those count also as citations. And again, you're making sure that the name of the business, the address, and the phone number are exactly the same across. So Beverly says we are virtual now, but we'll be a brick and mortar. So I have to not added the business on Google Docs yet. And like I said, you don't have to wait. You can add you can always update your profile at any time. And if you're doing business and you're not up on that site and you're to a degree a local based business, you're losing business. Okay. And Donita, I hope I said that right. Donita, it says, I am offering my services virtually online, but I still have a physical building. I will probably use the entire US. Absolutely. You determine how you want to do this. Deja says, how do I create these specific keyword matches based on the three categories? I'll come back to you, Deja, on that. Okay. So here's some best places to get citations. Third-party websites, such as online directories that I mentioned. Local blogs will allow you, if you see a blog that says the best pizza shops in your area, try to get on that blog. Reach out to the editor and go, hey, would you mind adding our business to that? We just won this award. We just, we're looked at as the top clothing shop in our area. Industry-focused directories, industry-focused blogs, citations from your competitors, because you're looking at your competitors and going, if they're there, I should be there. And then, of course, social media. So let's look at social media. So social media platforms are probably the most stable platforms on the planet. They have the highest domain score. That means trust. How much trust does a website have? A typical business domain score ranks between 0 and like 30. And if you're doing well, you're 30 to 40 to maybe 50. Universities and organizations and say organizations can range anywhere between 40 and 60 because they're producing content. And the key here is how much content are you producing, which is one of the signals, and as well, how many backlinks do you have to your website? So Facebook has a domain score of 97 and a trust score of 100. Twitter, 94 and 99, Instagram, 90 and 95, LinkedIn, 88 and 91. So you need to have a business profile on at least one of these. If you can get them on all four, and I understand that puts more work on your plate, but this is worth it once you start to grow, to make sure that you're in these places, because these links in themselves or backlinks, which are great signals to your website and the authority of your website. Okay. Facebook is great because it has the largest audience, and I believe it still has the largest audience as of right now. And I like, and the key here, no matter if it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or any of these other ones, is it's not about you being on the platform. It's about, is your audience on that platform? If your audience is not on TikTok, then you don't need to be on TikTok. That doesn't mean that you eventually don't start to leverage TikTok because you're already a master at Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. My audience is on LinkedIn. I'm on all these platforms, but the audience, the platform that gets the most of my attention? It's LinkedIn, because I'm B2B. And it's a great platform for me, but I still have the other ones, and I post stuff on them and I get a little bit of interaction, but the most of my interaction comes from LinkedIn, but I'm on the other ones because I still might pick up a new client here or there, and it's worth it for me. So you have to determine, is it worth it for you? So you want to make sure you go in there and you optimize as much as you can those profiles. Facebook will let you, Facebook business page will let you put your address, but Instagram won't. So you're optimizing it in different ways. So, but one key thing about being on social media, in addition to the SEO signal, is you can now get reviews. And reviews, as you saw earlier when I did that search for dentist, is pulling in information from your social media channels, because it's understanding that this is a part of your business. So when you have these additional elements, this gives you more support for your SEO strategy. So you can have reviews. Your reviews could possibly come up. Again, you're building additional citations. You're monitoring your brand. You got great customer service. I had a problem with Spirit Airlines, and who doesn't? Okay. And my primary communication with them was Twitter. Why? Because I could not get through on their website. I resolved my entire process with them, issue with them through Twitter. So it is a customer service tool for some of your people, some of your owners, some of your audience that might want to communicate with you. It's a lead generator, it's a news amplifier. So there's a lot of reasons why. And like I said, again, it also drives traffic. So when it comes to SEO, social media is what we call referral traffic back to your website. Okay. And so let me share. This is a client that I have permission to share. So this is one of my clients. They sell vending machines in the United States and South America. And give me 1 second, because this keeps doing this. My mouse keeps disappearing. There we go. And so right now they're at about, in the last 30 days, they've got 500,000 impressions. They've gotten 15, this is 30 days, 15,000 clicks in the last 30 days, 15,000 unique visitors. Now, what I want to point out is here are their channels that we leverage. Organic. So that's organic search. 86% of their traffic is organic. And that's what our job is to help them do. 12% of their traffic is direct. That means people know their domain name. They're going to it. A small percentage is referral. Referral traffic is being referred from someone else's website. They got social media. So a small percentage of their traffic is coming from social media. And then you have other, and other is paid ads. It could be a number of other things that are happening. Email, that's driving traffic to your website. And so you need to know you need to have some type of tools. This is on WordPress. It can be different for other platforms like Shopify or BigCommerce or Wix. So you figure out, how do I see these analytics so I can determine, what amount of traffic is coming to my site and what sources are driving that traffic. Okay. So we'll go back to here and we'll keep going. All right. So you want to be able to interact with your customers online. Okay. So the best thing to do is to be able to communicate with them. This is a two-way street. The good thing about social media is it gives you the ability to talk to your audience, but it gives your audience a chance to talk back to you. And audiences today expect a lot more transparency. I know some people are afraid to open up on social media. I'm not personal on social media, but I am business on social media. All day business. I don't do anything personal. I do only business. And if some people don't like it, then they don't follow me. I'm okay with that. You just have to determine how you want to interact on social media. You want to make sure that the channels would change, the social media channels would change, but your purpose, your vision, your mission, what you stand for as a business should not, unless of course you're making adjustments. You can ask your followers questions. Ask them about the content that they want to see from you. Do contests, do giveaways, make it interactive, driving traffic back to the site. But you're also having a pulse on what you could create content around on your site and localize that content as well. Again, it's a two-way street. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do. You're going to get access to these slides where you can dive in deeper. 7, actively manage reviews and ratings. So you need to get reviews. There are lots of platforms in addition to social media. You got Google. Google is number 1, and your Google reviews will come up when people search your business. So if you can get people to give you a review on Google, that's a start. Zillow, Yelp, Facebook, BBB, Better Business Bureau, TripAdvisor, Superpages, Booking.com. So some of these are industry specific, and some of them are generic. So, try to start asking people for reviews, because those reviews play a huge part in your social media strategy. They'll come up in your social media strategy, and I'll show you a little bit more about that later. The key here is with reviews is when you get a bad review, and at some point you probably will, you don't ignore it. You don't have an open all out fight with the person. You just say, hey, I'm sorry you're having this issue. We'd love to take this offline and see if we can solve this problem. And so whether you're not admitting right or wrong, who's right or wrong, you're just saying, hey, I hear you. Let's take this off. So you're being proactive about it, and you're not ignoring them, because people will notice that as well. So when you're taking these reviews, you are opening yourself up, but it's very, very few that someone's going to be malicious and try to come after you. But if they do, you just need to address it, quickly and try to take it offline. Hey, here's an email address. Please email us, and let's see if we can help you solve this issue. All right, a little bit of diplomacy, and so that's what we're going to look at when we talk about reviews. So this is a big one, going mobile. At the end of the day, Google is now mobile first, so you need to make sure that your website is mobile friendly. And it really surprises me that how many websites are still not mobile friendly. So make sure if you're designing your website, a lot of the box companies like Wix and whatnot will now make sure that your site is mobile friendly unless you choose the wrong template. But make sure your site is mobile friendly, because you will be outranked if your mobile experience, if you neglected your mobile experience. And I'll give you another example. Let's go back to here. This is my client, so I can see devices on my site. So you should be able to see this type of information on your site. So I can see that 70% of their traffic of that 15,000 people that clicked on that site is mobile. So mobile is key for this website. And if it wasn't, I'd be losing so much business for this particular customer. And only 29% of it is desktop. And then a very small percentage of it is tablet based, your iPads and your Surface devices and whatnot. So you want to confirm that you're 100% mobile. Check with your webmaster. If you're not that person, test it on all browsers, test it on all mobile devices. So Kimberly says, so if our address is hidden, how does this work at the bottom of your website? At this point, you could just put in, serve in the United States. You could put areas. You could be serving areas, serving areas including, and then you could add states. You could add cities. You can add, because it's still giving you more information. So if you serve, so maybe you serve the Southeast. So you might say serving Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina for the past 20 years, something like that. So there's no right and wrong way, but adding some type of local indicators will help you localize the search a little bit more. Even if you're looking for national coverage. Okay, so sometimes it may not matter that much to you. If your website is doing well, some social signals might not be as important to you. So you have to determine what that is. So Kamani said, so a PO box is bad. As far as from last time I checked, Google will not allow you to register a business with a PO box, and they'll tell you that when you're trying to register. They want a physical address. They want to make sure that you're a physical business, whether you show the address or not. Okay, so you can still be a home-based business and go, no, I don't want people coming to my house. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to keep going because we only got 10 minutes, and like I said, I'm flying through this. Using schema markup. Now, this one's a little tricky. It even took me a second to wrap my brain around this. Schema markup is cool because it does a number of things. It makes it crystal clear to Google where you are and what you do. And this is another key element of traffic and conversion. So I always say when it comes to being online, you either have a traffic problem or a conversion problem. And traffic problem means you just don't have enough traffic. So you need to build strategies that allow you to get more traffic, kind of what we're doing now. And then once you start having the traffic, you need to now fix the conversion problem, because even though you're getting traffic getting people to see the website and search, if they're not clicking on the links, then you're not getting the conversions to your website. And schema helps with that. It allows for a richer experience for the end user to see information about your business when they do a search. Okay, so I'll give you a good example. So this here is schema markup at its best. Someone does a search. This is the first one in the upper right is a video and marketing company. If they didn't have schema markup, they wouldn't see all this additional information like the team, the design, contact us, portfolio. That's a schema markup plugin working on their behalf to read the whole website and determine what are some key things about this website that I can show in addition to the traditional title, URL, and that meta description. So it's pulling in these additional things. Here's a second one, and that red box represents schema markup. So here's schema markup language for local businesses. So say you can local businesses, it'll pull in things like your services. It might pull in your calendar, your availability. It might pull in your products in some cases, depending on what type of business you are. If you have reviews on your website, it'll pull those. It'll pull events. If you're an event-based company, it'll find your events, because you can set your schema to an event-based company. If you have coupons, it could pull that. It could pull videos. It could pull specific people that work for your company, products, and your city. So say you do have multiple locations. So you could put, if you actually have physical addresses, and you're in 5 cities or 5 states, you list those 5 addresses at the bottom in the footer of your website. Those cities could be pulled up in your schema, so they can go, oh yeah, I'm in DC. Oh, I'm in Maryland. Oh, I'm in New York. And now what the schema allows them to do is go, yes, I'm more interested in the products. I'm more interested in their team. I'm more interested in contacting them. And now, instead of them having to go to your main website and then find their way to that page, the schema allows them to just go directly to that page, increasing the click-through rate, which is optimizing your click-through rate so they get to your website and take the appropriate steps. So that's what schema markup is all about. Number 10 is about auditing your website. Okay, auditing your website, and you can audit your competitor's website. So you could type on, how do I audit my website? There are tools out there that will read your website and tell you what's right and what's wrong with your website. You'll see that, you might be missing things like meta tags. You might have broken links. You might not have a sitemap. And don't worry about some of these terms I'm throwing out. If it's your first time hearing it, this will it'll start making sense as you start to dive deeper into this. But the key here is, if you look at this slide, you got some check marks, you got those yellow warnings, and then you got those red boxes. And what this audit is telling you is you fix the red boxes first. So it's saying, here's what's wrong with your site technically from an SEO standpoint. And now you fix those issues, and then you can start working on the warnings, because these critical issues could be stopping you from showing up in a search. And if you're not showing up in a search, well, you're not in the picture to win any new business. So these have to be fixed. And this is, you need to audit your website, because this is stuff you can't see with the naked eye. Okay. And then finally, you need to track this. And I kind of showed you with my client, you need to have some tools. You need to make sure that you need to have 2 tools, that every person on this call should have 2 tools set up. One is Google Analytics, because Google Analytics can usually be integrated into your website, whether it's WordPress or Wix or Squarespace or Shopify. You should be able to connect your Google Analytics. So now it's taking into account your Google Analytics and what's actually happening on your website. And the other one is your Google Search Console. That's the second one. Google Search Console is different from Google Analytics. Google Analytics tells you what has happened on your website, what people have done, where they started, where they went, and where they ended, and where they left. Google Search Console shows you how they found your website in the first place, what keywords they use, because then there's discovery to figure out, wow, they found me for this keyword, but my website's not optimized for that keyword. Let me optimize my website specifically for that keyword. So then I can get even more of that traffic, because I'm purposely trying to optimize my website to get more traffic based on this keyword that I totally slept on. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So I see Kimberly asks, is schema a function you employ on the website? Yeah, well, it all depends on the platform. Some platforms might have it, like for Google, for WordPress. WordPress is my preferred platform. We add a number of plugins that help us integrate schema in it. You can download schema plugins. So if you're on you might talk to you, if you're handling your website and say you're on Shopify or Wix, send a message in the chat box to go, hey, how do I enact schema markup? Is it already on my site? Because it might be, or maybe it might be a switch. It might be a plugin you have to get, because a lot of these sites, they'll give it to you for a cheap price, but then you have to pay for certain plugins to add additional features. So Kimberly, I hope that answers your question. So make sure you're tracking, you're using Google Analytics, you're using Google Search Console, because, okay, so you have Wix. So yeah, so just, have a conversation with them and say, hey, how do I have a schema markup as part of my package? Do I need to add it as a plugin? And they'll give you the information. So again, so I'm going to go back here. If you happen to be on Google, if you happen to be on WordPress, you're going to install a plugin called SiteKit, and SiteKit was created by Google, so it's a trustworthy plugin. And then when you activate it, it's going to ask to connect to your Google Analytics and your Google Search Console, and that is how I end up with all this data. So I don't even have to go to Google Analytics or Google Search Console. I can do it all right inside of my WordPress site. And that's why I love WordPress. WordPress is, to me, the most, it gives you the best ability to really optimize your website. Okay. So tracking, getting these numbers. So let's recap. A local SEO strategy that gets results includes multiple strategies, and you don't have to do them all. You just got to start somewhere. And if you need an initial place to start, you go to your Google My Business and either create it, or Google Business Profile and create it, or make sure it's fully optimized. From there, then you can start looking at your website and going, what do I, is my website optimized? I'm doing an audit of your website, and then start making little adjustments and adding local signifiers throughout your website, in your footer, on certain pages where it might make sense to add the city that you're in or the locations you serve. So claim your Google, your business listing, manage your online ratings, and start focusing locally on social media. Okay. So local SEO helps you find new business in your own backyard when they need the help the most. And like I said, and this is the key, they're already searching. So if you're not there, they will find your competitor. And this will also help you outrank bigger competitors that are not focusing on local, they're focusing on national. So there is an advantage to focusing on local SEO versus organic, national and global SEO. All right, so I think we have enough time for maybe one or two more questions.
Yeah, Jimmy, it's George. If you're able to and want to go a few minutes long to take care of some questions, that we're happy to do that.
Absolutely, I could do that. Yes. All right, so let's see. I got some questions here. Let me just go. I'm going to try to answer as many as I can. What are the number of the listings on the slides? All right, so earlier I showed the listings on the I think it was on the social media slides. Again, that's your domain. That's the domain score of that website and the trust score. And every website has a domain score and a trust score. No websites will hit that high other than social media. And one of the key signals is because it produces so much content and there's so much backlinking to them. And having a link and having your website on there and a web link back to your website is, you have a link from a 98, from a website that has a 98% domain score. So that's what that means. What is Google SiteKit? DJ, like I said, if you're on WordPress, just go to your plugins, add new plugin, and search Google SiteKit. And Google SiteKit will just now allow you to pull in, it'll monitor your website, but it'll also match it up with your Google Analytics and your Google Console data, so you can see everything in one place, okay? What was the tool you use for website audits? I'll drop in to the chat a tool you guys can use that's free, but you have to connect your website in order to use it. hrefs.com/website. I got to make sure this is the right address. Give me 1 second. And here's my contact information while I am making sure that this is the right address. Give me 1 second. Is that it? Nope. Let me just find this tool. This is a free tool that you can use forever. So that's why I'm gonna share that with you. There we go. So I'm gonna put this in the chat. So you can go there and you need to connect, you create a free account and you set up an account, and then you can pull in your website and audit it and see what's right and wrong with it. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Will I be able to use strategies if my domain and website is hosted by a company, not Google? Yes, Yes, because this local search is almost is separate, even though it's a part of your website. So your website is one thing. Setting up your Google business listing profile is separate, but you connect them. Okay. Maria says, I have an online store connected to my website. I'm also on a food delivery app. However, on my Google profile, the order online button goes to their platform and not my own. How do I bump them? Well, I mean, you should have the ability to direct where that link goes to. You have full control over your Google business listing. So you should be able to go in there and say, this is the URL that we should drive the traffic to, because you own the Google business listing. Okay. Jack says, is it possible to get a recording? Yes, you will get a recording of this. Angela, what is the most effective way of adding SEO terms to my website? The keywords are based on what you do. So, again, the keywords should almost kind of exist, based on the pages that you have on your website. Here's a key thing. And this is a mistake I see a lot of businesses do. They'll have a services page and they'll have all their services listed on that single page. You know how confusing that is to Google? What you have to do is each service needs to have its own page, because each service is its own doorway to your website. So you need to break up those pages. You need to break up those services into individual pages. You can have a master page with all your services, but then have it link out to a page that really goes deep into that specific service. Now you're optimizing for that service, which in turn is really optimizing it for the keywords related to that service. So I hope that makes sense, Angela. Okay. Again, that's how you reach me, Jimmy at Moving Forward Small Business. Reach out to me. We actually have a really great thing we're doing tomorrow night. So if you'd like to know about it, email me and I'll tell you more about it. And there's going to be networking, and we're talking about competitive research, which is all a part of this whole process here. So I think with that, let me see. I think there's one more. Thank you for your participation. And the score is powered by the SBA. So we thank them as well, the Small Business Administration. And I think that's it. Okay, so thank you.
Jimmy, on behalf of SCORE, thank you so much for doing this. And thanks for everybody for attending. If you could take just a moment at the tail end and fill out our survey, we'd really appreciate it. And as a reminder, I apologize, the link to the materials has been a little bit quirky, but it will get fixed later today. And the recording will be there later today as well. So thank you again.
Absolutely. Have an incredible day, everyone.